Me by one another lady that I know, personally, and I keep praying about this name, and then I get another powerful mighty woman of God that I met yesterday, and my gosh, it's the same name. I said, okay, God, I will not ignore now. Okay, I want to meet this person. I've been asking God to meet this person. Finally, I met this person today, Mr. Diego Martinez. Please say hello to everyone.
How's everybody doing? Diego Martinez, candidate for governor of California, out here on this beautiful day, enjoying this nice day out with the beautiful lady and waiting to see what happens here.
Okay, so anyway, so again, as I said, I've been praying about this name for the last couple months, and now finally it's here. And because we want to change, here we go. Okay, so we've been asking God to change the one in position right now, Governor Newsom. We've been praying for him, but for whatever reason, he's not changing and it's getting worse. Anyway, why are you running for governor?
Well, we have allowed career politicians to dictate what happens in this state. And every year, every different politician, our state gets worse and worse and worse. So when you look at it, you wonder what's going on. Well, we keep electing the same people who have done absolutely nothing to make our state any better. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's the definition of insanity, expecting a different result. When Governor Brown signed into effect Proposition 10, which was getting away of my industry of what I do for a living, I started getting a little bit more involved in politics. I started looking around and figuring out how to make a difference. I have a business background. I've owned my own business. I've worked for a lot of multi-million-dollar operations. So for a while, what I was doing was taking bad businesses that were failing and we make them profitable. So if you look at California and you look at California like a business, we can make California profitable, livable, sustainable, and affordable for everybody. So for those reasons, it's a good reason to run. I'm not a career politician. This is my first go at any public office, and this should be my only go, because career politicians should have a term limit. Yeah. The word career and politician should never be in the same sentence. Just like any job, you work, then you go to the next job. You have people like Nancy Pelosi who are making bad decisions not because they're bad people, but because they're out of touch with what the real world is. When you've been in politics 40 years, that's 5 years longer than I've been alive. Exactly. So when you look at all that, you look at everything and you say something's got to change. Well, how come honest, hardworking people don't take the reins? We understand. As a business person, I have a better vision of where a business like California should be at.
I know exactly. So what are the platforms that are you thinking on handling this as a governor? Because California we're in a bad situation.
Well, the first thing is we have to look at California and think that we have to be financially independent. We cannot be counting on the federal government to keep bailing us out every time that we get in trouble. Well, how do you do that? You have so many different parts of California, many different angles, but they all touch together. We can start with all the free programs that we're giving out in California to either illegal aliens or just American citizens who are down on their luck and haven't done anything, but we give away a lot of free. So how do you fix the free program? But you have 2/3 of California paying all the taxes. So that's why our taxes are so high, because you only have a portion of California paying taxes and the other part sucking it out. So the first thing we got to do is something that should have been done under Donald Trump, but our governor refused to help. And that is finish the wall, finish the Mexican border wall. You have got to finish the wall because our safety is important. Yes. Not saying that I don't want people to come in. I'm saying that we have to stop right now the illegals, people coming in and jumping the fence. We have got to secure our borders. We have got to shut down our borders for a little bit. Okay? We have got to clean up California and what's California people right now. That's right. That means that if you're here getting the free services, free insurance, free money, we're going to give you a 3 to 4 year work permit to allow you to prove that you've earned the right to be in the United States and you've earned the right to move to the next phase, which will be a green card. But free will be gone. That means no more free health care, no more free money. When we came to the United States, my mom had to work to support us. That's how everybody comes here. They want to work. They want to be better than what the country that they left. So we're going to give them that opportunity. what that does for the California taxpayer. Once you have 100% of Californians paying their fair share of taxes, we can actually lower the taxes in California across the board. We can deregulate California to bring more industry into California so there's more jobs available. With that being said, now you need the trade skill people to be able to fill those jobs. Well, we don't have that in California because California moved away from trade schools, moved away from opportunities for kids to grow. So what do? You provide trade schools in California because not everybody's meant to go to college.
That's right.
But everybody's meant to be able to make a good living and be able to make a good wage and provide for their family. So with allowing trade schools to come back into California allows the normal person who normally wouldn't be able to go to college to actually be able to get a skill set in a trade to be able to get a better paying job. So what we're going to do here in California, we're going to move apprenticeship programs, on-the-job training, which a lot of people don't hear about that anymore because of insurance purposes and this and that makes it really hard for small businesses to be able to train somebody. The insurances almost kill you to death. So we're going to deregulate that. And trade schools. So you got three different sectors of how we're going to get people back to work. The trade schools and the on-the-job training will also follow for small businesses and medium-sized businesses as well as companies, bigger corporations. Anybody who hires these folks on these programs will get a tax cut on their business. So you didn't just get your personal taxes cut, now you got your business taxes cut, whether you're a small business or a big business. The idea is to get more Californians back to work. So if you hire somebody on the job training, like if you own a construction company and you need three laborers, you go to the high school, once these kids graduate, they don't have trade, they don't know how to be carpenters, they don't know how to do construction, but you give them that opportunity, we're going to give you a tax cut. Because you deserve it, because you're helping us teach these kids or these people how to go to work. Apprenticeship programs are basically made for college educated people who can't get a job at those fields because there's no jobs available. We'll bring an industry back into California, we'll allow those jobs to open up. A lot of people want somebody with experience. Well, if you're just out of college, you don't have a lot of life experience, you don't have a lot of job experience. So what we're going to do is offer these corporations a tax cut to give the apprenticeship program and give these folks an opportunity to get their foot in. It's a year program. After the year, if you like them, you keep them. If not, they're able to go get a better job somewhere else. So this is all opportunities to bring people to work. We have a huge homeless problem in the state of California.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
58 counties, and they all think it's each county. No, it's a California problem. So we're running on the facts of real California solutions for real California problems.
Okay, can you say that again, Mr. Martinez?
Real California solutions for real California problems. The border we just talked about, it's a real California problem.
That's right.
We put a solution behind it, right? You got away from sanctuary cities, you got away from free. Now you have a secure border, you have everybody working, paying their fair share of taxes, right? You have a homeless problem, which is bad. But 70% of our people that are homeless right now are suffering mental health, mental illness. So instead of spending $93 million on a hotel, we're going to spend that money in opening up mental health and giving these folks the mental health that they need and the treatment that they need. That leaves you to about 30%. Well, the government, the state, the counties own different buildings, from the old military bases to some old warehouses. We're going to employ the homeless, the 30%, we're going to give them a trade set. We talked about trade schools. So we need carpenters, we need painters, tile setters, roofers, landscaping. We're going to give them a trade, and they're going to help us build their housing. Now, not only are they going to help us, we're going to give them a little bit of pride. But in these facilities, they're going to have rehab centers for alcohol, drug, and they're going to have a counselor. And we're going to hold them accountable for the services that we're providing, but for the housing, and give them help to be able to clean themselves up, rehab themselves, and be able to have a trade to go back into the working force and be productive members of society. Now, that doesn't always work. There's the transit people that like just to move one place to another. We're going to have an area where they can camp. They'll have showers, bathrooms, and at night, that's where they camp. After 30 days, 60 days, they need to move to the next town, to the same kind of facility. The reason you're doing that is because it's proven fact that if they move 12 times, they're going to settle somewhere. So we're hoping that the people that are just transits, that they'll eventually settle into one of these programs where they can get clean, they can get a trade, and again, they can become productive members of society. It will be against the law for them to sleep in parks in front of your business. The other second part of this is they call them shoot-up clinics or drug clinics, where California taxpayers are paying for drug-addicted people to go get drugs. We're going to do away with those.
Good.
Okay?
Good.
It's simple. You're either going to be a rehab clinic or no clinic.
Exactly.
So we have to break some of those habits that are going on now that are against society. We got to bring law and order back.
Okay, good.
You cannot defund the police. Because when you defund the police, you're putting everybody's life at risk, their safety. I know people that say, we don't need to call the police. I get it. You don't. How about your wife? How about your daughter? How about your granddaughter? How about the elderly lady next door? They don't have the same fortitude that we do. So somebody needs to call the police needs to be available. But instead of defunding the police, let's put a different spin on this. How about if we fund the police enough where they can actually get paid better and actually recruit people who just graduated from mental health or from social services? Because now you can afford their wages just like normal people will. Now you have a police department, a sheriff's department trained in mental health, social services, and to be a police officer. So now you have a triple threat. So when that call comes in, they send the right police officer to take care of the right issue, not a social worker who's never been in a situation like that, which could cause them harm more than they can help. And that's the problem when they talk about defunding the police and removing and putting these services in place. Well, these folks, nothing against them. I'm sure they're very highly well trained in mental health and social services, but they don't know about policing. No. They don't know what it's like to deal with a bad person. Exactly. So we're not going to defund them. We're going to give them the help that they need with the recruits and the staffing that the police department needs. That doesn't mean that they will not be held accountable. So I want everybody to know accountability is going to happen from the janitor.
That's right.
All the way to the governor. Transparency needs to be. Just like me and you are right now and the whole world can see what we're talking about. Yeah. When a new bill comes into office, everybody's going to be able to see it. They're going to understand it. We're going to break it down.
Exactly, because, that's why we were talking with our senator and mayors and everything. Most bills are being passed without us even knowing, the lay person, most citizens, we don't know. And of course our senator said, because no one showed up, because we don't know, Senator, that this bill is being passed. So thank you, for this.
We don't know about it because nobody says anything about it.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm going to take you guys back just a little bit of time here. A year ago, right before the elections, AB 5.
Okay.
Everybody knows what AB 5 is. It's the self-contractors. Yes. It was really big on Uber and Lyft. Yeah, We had one assemblyman yelling to everybody, AB 5, we have to stop this. We have to stop this. We can vote no. Do not let AB 5 go. That's great. Everybody found out about it. But he didn't have enough to say SB 145, which is a worse bill for our kids. Because that's, in a breakdown, I'll just give you like the little narrative here, the worst parts of it, because nobody ever wants to talk about the good parts of this bill. But it's basically if a 24-year-old male or female wants to have sexual intercourse with a 14-year-old, 10-year difference, is consensual.
I know.
There's nothing consensual about that. Because if you look at that now, take the same 14-year-old with a 4-year-old. So our assembly people, our elected officials have failed us. Both parties. I don't care what party you're with. That, to me, SB 145 is immoral. It's not right, and it should have never gotten anywhere. And it would not have gotten there had an assembly person put some traction on it and let the California taxpayers know what this bill was. It would never pass. Yet our governor signed it within 2 hours. Wow. But our governor, we talked about real solutions, right, and real problems in California. Donald Trump, whether you liked him or not, came into California and signed the federal rights to our water away. Basically, he said the California people can now decide what's going on with their water. We don't need to dump it in the ocean. Kevin McCarthy signed it with them. Gavin Newsom will not sign it. But you will sign a pedophile bill in 2 hours, but you will not sign something that the Central Valley desperately needs, which is the water. Our water problem is a human-made problem. We are dumping more water in the ocean than we're keeping in our reservoirs. So we talk about real solutions for real problems, right?
Yeah.
Here's our problem, water shortage, because we're dumping it in the water, in the ocean. Not only that, our reservoirs and our dams need to, the infrastructure needs to be redone. Not only that, we also need to build more dams and more reservoirs for our water. Up Mendocino County, they're trucking their water in. Why are we trucking water in when we have free water? We need to build a dam up in Mendocino County, give them the water that they deserve. So we have to stop dumping the water in the ocean, start storing our own water. Desalination, everybody talks about it. But a lot of people don't know that we already have desalination plants here in California. Government Brown shut them down. So we're going to work with the owners, which is a private company, of desalination plants, build a reservoir where we can have 3 years worth of water storage for the state of California. Our assets of water, instead of dumping into the ocean, we're actually going to look at our neighboring states. There are dry states. They keep talking about Nevada. Vegas will be dry within 10 years. So they will not be. We could build a water pipeline to Arizona and to Nevada and give them our asset of water that we have, which will, those two states will actually pay for the water taken care of, the maintenance, and people employed.
That's right.
So the idea is to bring jobs back into California, keep our water here, let agricultural go back to where it used to be. Did you know that California used to supply 80% of the food in the United States? Agricultural out of Central Valley.
Wow, yeah.
Okay. Now we're only doing 30%. If the government controls your water, they control your food supply. They control you. And that's what's going on right now. It's a form of socialism, just not to its fullest. That's why you talk about stimulus packages. Okay, so California has a big problem. We throw away more money to stuff that shouldn't be thrown away. So we have got to stop the wasteful spending. So before I take office in November, our number one plan is to get an outside auditor. It has absolutely nothing to do with party lines or people. Just an outside auditor to come in and audit California and go like to different places where they say Caltrans needs their budget to go up next year because we've done this. Well, what they forgot to tell you is Caltrans bought extra stuff so their budget could go up. Those programs have to come to stop. We have to streamline California to run in a shoestring budget to make it affordable. So now, if you look at a picture of California, close your eyes and just imagine this. Industry's back. People are making good wages. Our homeless problem has a solution in place, and it's not a Band-Aid. Immigration's taken care of because we have everybody working and everybody paying taxes. You take your taxes from your cars and you swipe that out. We need to be competitive with our registration, with Arizona, Nevada. We also need to be competitive with our gas prices because it's a shame that we're making gas in California, yet we pay more than every other state when we truck it the less. So we're going to do away with the unnecessary taxes that everybody's getting taxed to death. We're going to make it business friendly. I want businesses in California. I want your small businesses to be able to grow. And I want you to be able to not only to have 1, 2, or 3, because now we have more employment, more industry, and more supply for the demand of your business. And that's what we need to get to, a working California. I see education as a huge problem in California. We could start with vaccination. It should be parents' choice. We need to give the parents the right back to be parents and not the kids to have all the rights. Government needs to step back from our religion, our family lives, and our sexuality. Our businesses have, our government has no business in any one of those. Our God, our churches are there for a reason, for our moral values, for our home life, for our ethics. Get that and get the parents involved and get the kids to develop loving God, loving the neighbors, and loving life. And whatever sexuality they were born with. Our school teachers aren't psychologists. They do not have a degree into telling our kids what sex they should be. Because the way I look at it is this. I love to cook. I'm a good cook. My house looks good. I decorated it. But doesn't mean that I want to be a woman. It just means that you're a little bit in tune with that part of your mind. Doesn't mean I'm a woman. It just means that I understand. Now, most people, oh, you decorate your house. Are you femi? No, I just like nice things and my mom taught me how to do this. So but it doesn't mean that you're a female. Imagine being in the 3rd grade and you telling that to your teacher and she says, well, you're a female. And indoctrinating that in your mind. They don't have that degree, they don't have that ability, and they need to stop.
That's right.
Transgender kids playing opposite sports, that needs to stop. But it needs to stop not just because it's not right, but because the science stands behind that a male who turns to a female, a transgender male, goes and plays in a female sport, has 2/3 more body mass than a female athlete.
That's right.
So a female body produces estrogen, which is a muscle blocker. So it doesn't help you build muscle. A male body comes composed with testosterone. So when you're working out, your testosterone levels go bigger. So what happens at that point, you kick in your HGH, which is naturally inside of you. So let's say 14-year-old male, 14-year-old girl, female. They both go to the gym every day, work out the exact same way, same weights. The male at the end of 30 days will have 2/3 more body mass and more powerful than the female, because that's just our naturality. Now you put him to compete, who's going to win? So people were frowning on steroids in baseball, but that's the same thing you have with this young man who's competing with the same young lady at the same age. So it's an unfair advantage. Now, if schools want to keep transgender programs going, then they need to provide their own equal sports, and they need to compete against their own peers.
That's right.
Where everything's the same. But you cannot take a scholarship from a young lady because she got cheated. That's what you did. You cheated this young lady's opportunity because you put somebody who at a disadvantage against her. So I'm against that, but I'm for school choice. Definitely got to have school choice. Our charter schools need to be better funded, and our private schools. So this is me right now, and this is just for the first 6 months, because we're going to fix the education system. Okay, first of all, we're going to fix it, but you're going to be able to take your kids to any school. My hope is that by the 2nd year, your school is the one that's around the corner from your house. That's going to be the best school. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I want parents to know this. If you're taking care of your kids at school, if you're teaching them at home, you're going to get a tax cut, because you shouldn't get taxed for the public school that you're not using. If your kids go to private school, at the end of the year, you come do your taxes, you show that you paid for the private school, you get a tax cut for the school tax that we've been taxing you on a school that your kids never used. Because the money will follow the kid on school choice. But we're going to take it even a step further than that. That's just for the beginning. But if we do everything right, that won't even have to happen. Because we're going to go to the unions, the teachers' union, and we're going to tell them, you need to go back to school today. No more masks. No more bisexual intercourse, stuff like that. That program's over. You're going to go back to school and you're going to teach the curriculum that you're supposed to teach. The real American curriculum. U.S. history needs to be there. And history is so important, so we don't repeat it.
That's right.
So why do you take down statues? So it doesn't remind you? No, those statues were put on there so you remember what slavery cost. You remember the damage that it did on this great nation. And you remember that you don't ever want that to happen again.
That's right.
Okay? There is no privilege. Because let me tell you this. If a kid's going to a public school and it's a bad side of town, it doesn't matter what race he is, he's not privileged. So this thing of white privilege doesn't exist. Black privilege, none of this privilege. We have one privilege. We were born in a free country that allows us the privilege to be anybody we want to be. And I'm telling you this from an immigrant who came here at 6 years old from a dirt poor country with 5 other brothers and sisters, and my mom as a waitress raised each and every single one of us, and each and every single one of us right now are living our own American dream. And you cannot do that in any other country but the one we're in. So why wouldn't you want to protect it and leave it like this? Because America is the greatest country in the world, and California will be the greatest state in the world. But guess what? I can't do it by myself. I need everybody's help. We're going to fix the schooling, like I said. Once the school teachers and the school union tell me no, I'm going to look at them and say, I accept your resignation. Teachers, tomorrow we're hiring. And we're going to hold the superintendents, the principals, the vice principals, and the teachers accountable. But better than that, we're going to keep the parents accountable for their kids' actions. No more disrespecting teachers. We're going to put security and police back in schools.
That's right.
so our kids could be safe. If a teacher wants to carry a gun, if she has a CCW and they're qualified, they should, because our kids are a precious thing. And we will not allow people to attack our kids at schools. The reason cowards go and attack schools is because they know nobody there has a gun. Otherwise, they wouldn't. If you go back, I'm going to date myself here a little bit. If you go back to the 90s, I grew up in Tuolumne County. I went there when I grew up in Stockton. We moved to Tuolumne County when I was a freshman in high school, about the middle of my freshman year. I remember every guy had a truck, and every truck had a gun rack in the back, and there was a gun rifle in the back of it. Nobody would dare come shoot a school. One of those kids would have reached their rifle probably before you got across the lawn. Now there's no protection for our kids. So that's why people feel it's okay to go shoot up schools. And that's a problem, and we're going to fix it. If you worked for a school and you were a police officer, you're going to get your job back. But we're going to hold you accountable for what's going on. We're going to hold teachers accountable and the police accountable for people selling drugs and doing bad stuff in schools that they shouldn't be. Kids are there to learn, and we need to go back to that. So those are a little bit of our solutions for our problems that we have.
Wow. You could feel the passion if you guys are watching right now. He's one of the immigrants that I really spoke and that are so passionate and loving this country. And I was also an immigrant from the Philippines, and I love this country. Even though I was a medical doctor in the Philippines, still, my dad has to support me. I'm already a doctor because my salary is so, nothing. So that's why I said, I want to go to America. And here he is, the same thing. Did you see what I'm saying? That's why you truly first, love life. Just like you said, that's unalienable rights for all of us. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And God gave us that right, and you're fighting for it. And you could see he's so well-rounded. I'm just listening and I say, oh my God, he's touching every point. Every point, and not just a little bit the surface, it's the detail of it. So my goodness. So please continue. I'm like, oh my God, I'm already like passionate about this country. I love this country. Now I'm loving this country more. And please continue, Diego, please.
What we need to get back to is real solutions.
Yes.
Forget the Band-Aids. Get back to the nut and bolts of America, free enterprise, and the ability to just grow. You can go anywhere, and you will never get the freedom that you get in this country. In California, we need to take our state back.
Come on, I agree.
I've
been to other countries, and there's no such place. We can't wait to come back here.
Look at Venezuela. Venezuela's a perfect example. Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in the world.
Wow.
And what happened? Riots on the street. They got rid of the middle class. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Because that's what's trying to happen here. Small businesses. They took down all their statues. Now there's people eating out of dumpsters, begging to come to the United States. But now once we get here, we want to destroy the United States? No, that program has to stop. We need to come back to reality. Our forefathers came to the United States for the freedom. Our Constitution means something.
Come on.
You got the Constitution, and what's the first thing they say in the line number 1? Do you know?
First Amendment?
What is it?
Religious.
Freedom of religion.
Yeah.
Yet our governor shut us down.
Come on. Yeah.
Why did they shut you down? Because your faith is the one thing that they cannot get out of you. You have to give it up. And how do you give it up? Not going to church, not having God, not having the ability to feel that love. So what they try to do, they try to break us down. But you have pastors out there and bishops out there that said, no, this isn't going to happen.
Exactly.
Not in my church. And they fought. They got fined. But guess what? They stayed open and they kept the faith alive. And that's why we're here today. And that's why we can pull ahead from the guy who's running this country, the state, to the ground. Not country, state. Because we can stand on our own. We can fight off our president. We can bring God, justice, and peace back into California. And we can bring the economy back. But it takes everybody. I say this over and over and over again. Our elected officials, both sides, have failed California, have failed each and every single one of us, and now it is time that they get out of the way, they let real business people take the reins and get California back to where we need to.
So, with that, could you just appeal to all these people that are watching us, about to watch us about this, please?
We need to be able to come together as a unit, as Californians, not as Democrats, not as Republicans, not as anything else, but California people who want a better future, because both parties have failed us. Both parties have let us out to dry, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. My California friends, once in our future, we can make history in California. Not just with the recall, but a history of unity, togetherness for a better future, bipartisan. And it's not about your legislation, it's about you, it's about me, it's about your neighbors and your friends. Remember going to that football game? We used to dislike the next team, not the guy sitting next to us. Imagine a California where we love each other and take care of each other. We're going to disagree, but we're going to build the assembly and the California Senate to where it's fair and everybody in California will be represented. I don't care what party you're with. I don't want the Republican Party to have a stronghold on anything, and I don't want the Democratic to have a stronghold on anything. I want the California people to have the stronghold because you hired us. You have the right to fire us, and the California legislation should be listening to the California taxpayer, and that has not happened. When our presidents say, we, the people, the government, he is wrong. Is the government works for the people. And where they made that mistake is because their whole career has been about telling us what to do. It is time that we take our state back inch by inch and piece by piece.
And I say amen to that, Diego, it's so true. That's why I said I have to learn the Constitution, I have to learn the history. I'm not into it before, but when I'm realizing that we're losing the freedom, the justice and equality for all, I need to educate myself. Just like you hear this mighty man of God here, he speaks like as if he knows every detail about politics. We have to be informed. That's why most people, they just let it go. Their freedom, their businesses, their churches, because they don't know their rights, right? You know your rights. That's the reason why he's running to be a governor, and he knows that he can't do it on his own. So
we talk about freedom.
Yes.
I'm glad you touched that, because our governor right now is freeing 76,000 inmates, prisoners that probably should not be getting let out. We're not going to shut down our prisons. We're going to actually reinforce them. We're going to cut their budget, but we're going to make them run efficient.
That's right.
That being said, freedom is priceless. So I want everybody to listen here and listen very carefully, because I'm going to make everybody a promise. As governor of California, if you are a felon, you have lost your freedom. You have lost your rights. If it's a non-violent assault with a weapon, you do your time. You complete your probation. A year after you get out of parole and you can prove that you're an honest, hardworking citizen, I will restore all your freedom and all your rights back. That means, yes, you will have the right to own a firearm, but I'm going to go a step further than that. I'm actually going to go to the federal government and get it removed from there. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to promise you that I'm going to fight for you. I can't promise you the end result, but one thing I will promise is that I will fight to do everything I can for you to restore your rights. Because right now in California, they say, yeah, you're dismissed, you could go get a gun, but the federal government has a hold on you. I'm going to remove that hold if I can. If it was with the firearm, 5 years after you completed everything and you show 5 years of good history, I will restore all your rights. And I will write that into legislation after I get it clear with the federal government. But you have my promise that I will go to fight for you, for your rights to be back, because everybody deserves their right and their freedom. And if you paid your time, there's no reason why you can't have it back.
Again, it sounds like, a person that has been redeemed, like me. I can, like God has forgiven me and over again. And we all know as believer of Christ that we give people chances. And chances. But at the same token, just like you said, they just allow them to be taken out of the jail or prison for what? And then what? In sanctuaries? How about the sanctuaries? They go and hide there or do their crime there? Or what do you think?
Unfortunately, when you're releasing prisoners without their right time, without paying their debt to society, you don't know what they're going to do.
That's right.
So if they go back and recommit a crime, but you defunded the police, so now you did a double-edged sword. You're allowing crime to take over. I am for law and order. I don't care who you are. You break the law, you're going to go to jail.
That's right.
Okay, we're not going to do away with cash bail. We're actually going to enforce cash bail, but we're going to do a cash system across the board where it's fair for everybody. So it's not going to be each county picking whatever they're doing. We're all going to work with the bail companies and the bail industry to make it fair for everybody in every county. So it's affordable bail. We're also going to stand behind law enforcement. We're going to reinforce them. We talked about that a little bit. So But we're going to do away with Prop 47. There's no more cite and release. No more petty crimes. There's no such thing as a petty crime. A crime's a crime.
That's right.
Famous words from Black Lives Matter. No justice, no peace.
Yeah.
We all hear it. You're right. I want justice for the business owner that you just ruined their business. I want justice for the guy you just pulled out of the car and you're hurt. I want justice for all the vandalism that you did. And we're going to get on top of district attorneys who do not follow the law and do their jobs.
Right.
Because our safety is number one. The people's safety is number one. The district attorney got hired to prosecute people. And if he can't do it, somebody else needs to. Especially here in LA, Gaston needs to go. He needs to be recalled, and he needs to be put under formal charges of not doing his job and actually endangering the Los Angeles people by the stuff that he's doing right now. And everybody should stand behind that. If you stand for law and order, you stand for God, you stand for family, this is something that we all need to stand together and ban and help the Los Angeles people recall him.
I agree, because when I heard all these things he's doing, that he's not going to prosecute this and this, wow. I said, what's the point of having him in the position? So, of course, I really, I'm saying, okay, what is he being paid for? So, but this is too amazing. I mean, this is the first time I met him. I've been praying for him for several months. Now I know why, okay? Because the passion that he has for California, for God, for family, and for really restoring back what California is all about,
Well, we're all pro-life.
Yes.
I believe in pro-adoption.
Yes.
But we have to work on the adoption system to make it easier
Exactly.
for people to be able to adopt. We have to go back through CPS.
Yes.
And we got to fix the CPS system because they're too happy about yanking your kid. They're supposed to be reunifying, and they're not doing it. So we're going to take all these programs, and we're actually going to go in them. We're going to fix the programs as long as we can.
Reevaluate, reform them, everything else.
And do it better for the California people.
That's right.
People say, oh, they got their kids taken away for a reason. No, people make mistakes, but they have to have an opportunity to reunify the families before we yank somebody's kid away. The funny thing is, if a kid's young, they're in a hurry to get your parental rights taken away, instead of figuring out how to stall, help, and mentor these people so they can come back into the kids' life. Because there's no better person that'll ever take care of those kids than mom and dad.
That's right.
We need to stop talking about divorce and talk about unity. That's where church needs to come in and play a better price. We need to believe in God. We need to have him in our life. And we need to have the church help us keep marriages together and keep families together. Well, how does that work? We need to go back to church. We need to do the church values. I heard somebody say this. I dislike that the teachers in the schools will not pray with our kids. I got a question. Did you pray with your kids before they left the house? Because the job of God is yours and the minister, not the school teachers.
That's right.
So if you pray at home, your kids will have gone to school prayed.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter what happens at school, right? We need to bring God back to a pledge of allegiance.
Yes.
We need to bring respect back. But better of all, and I know I have a lot of conservatives out there, and I know what happened in San Jose, but I'm not going to make the San Jose shooting a political like the governor. All of a sudden, he wants to get political about a shooting that happened in San Jose. Well, I feel for the families. I feel for the kids that passed away, and I feel for their families that they're grieving. But it's not about gun control, because a legal, honest citizen went and bought the gun right. That's not the gun that killed these kids. So we need to quit attacking the legal gun owners and start attacking the illegal guns that are being sold on the corner, around the block, that are causing all these crimes. Criminals don't go into a gun store and buy a gun legally.
Right.
They steal it. They go buy it from somebody else. They get illegal guns. Why are we not attacking them? Yeah, we're giving them a free pass going after the legal gun owner. We're going to do away with the roster list. So if you're in California, you're a legal, law-abiding citizen, you are actually going to be able to buy the guns that you deserve, that every other state is able to have them. Because it's funny, you have a roster list. I don't know if you know what that is. Basically, it's guns that you cannot buy in California, but you can buy in other states. So you have a Glock 9mm, and let's call it a Kimber 9mm. One's a 1911 single stack. It only holds eight bullets, and another one holds 10. I can buy this one here, but I cannot buy this one here. Bullies are going to do the same. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. I always tell people this: if I didn't have a gun and I wanted to kill somebody, I use my car, I use a knife, I use something. You find a way. So it's not the gun, it's who has the hands on their gun. So if you take the guns away from criminals and let law-abiding citizens keep them, we'll be more protected. Open carry. Everybody talks about constitutional carry. Do I believe in constitutional carry? I believe in the safety of everybody in California. I believe that people have the right to do a constitutional carry and open carry. But I will work with every sheriff in the 58 counties before I make that a law to make sure that we're all in agreement of what we're doing. Because I want people to be safe.
That's right.
And that's my number one priority. So I'm not against it. I'm actually for it, but I want to make sure that I get educated and do the right decision for the California people.
That's right.
And sheriffs out there that tell you, oh, you can't own a gun in our county, that program's over because California will be a at-will carry. So you will be able to buy all your guns. We're not going to have any restrictions because we're talking about this today, which is funny. It's kind of off subject a little bit, but it talks about guns. Pearl Harbor. Everybody knows Pearl Harbor. The Japanese cannot go any further inland. 2 reasons. 1, they didn't have a place to refuel their planes. 2, they said because every American owns a gun. So they didn't want to bring their planes in here because farmers will get out their guns and go shoot them. Where did our rights go? So we talk about freedom. That's where all this comes at. We have been giving up our freedoms a little bit at a time. And now guess what? They're choking us, getting our freedoms away. Now they want to take the last breath of freedom that you have. That's why they're trying to break our religion. That's why they're trying to break your faith. That's why they're trying to break your business, the economy. But California people and American people, we're resilient. We're fighters. And instead of leaving California, stay and fight for the state that you believe in. Minimum wage, economy, work. Why is everything so high? So they can chase us out of here. Who's buying California? Because it's not California people. Under my administration, we're going to do something nobody's done. We're going to do a real affordable housing project so that each and every single Californian can afford to buy a house, no matter what your credit is. Okay? Take a vision here. Apartment complexes, you can call them condos. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, $200,000. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. You're approved, but you have to live here for a year. Make sure that you can pay your payment. And after a year, we turn it into a loan. The house isn't going anywhere. We know where it's at. If we need to foreclose on it, we know exactly where it's at. But you can afford $2,300 a month in rent, $3,000 in rent. You're telling me you can't afford $1,500 on a $2,000 condo? $200,000 condo? You can. And after your year, you're proving it. That's your credit worthiness to buy a house. See, it's not like a car. And I've worked in the auto industry long enough to know. And our saying used to be, good credit, bad credit, no credit, come on in, we'll take care of you, right? And everybody got a loan. Why can't we do that for housing? Because the housing isn't going anywhere. The house is there. Now, with this program, the house value will never change. So it always stays down enough so the next person can afford it, so the next person can buy it. And we're going to build them with developers. We're going to get the bank to back us, and the state of California will back those loans because the state of California will have the first right of refusal, which basically is that same Fannie Mae or program that we choose will be in charge of the program and basically will allow the next person to do the same thing. So let's say that you've been here for 5 years and you have $200,000 and you only owe $160,000. You sell it back to the place, you get $200,000. So you got $40,000 in equity, which you can use as a down payment somewhere else. Wow. The next person comes in, they're buying the house for $200,000. So there's no inflation. So it makes it affordable. That's real affordable housing and real California ownership of your house. My American dream, different than everybody else's. I know people say, I want to be a millionaire. I never wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to be able to own a home, have a couple of nice cars, pay my bills. That was my American dream. I want every Californian to be able to live their American dream. I want to fix the system so that when I get out of office, the next person can come and make it better. And the next person behind them can come out and make it better. Come on. And that's what living the American dream's about. Improvement, improvement, improvement. And again, I can't do it alone. So you do your part, the next person comes in and improves it. The next person improves it. But as us as Californians, if we unite under a better future, not a party, but for a better future, nobody can stop us. And we can get there.
And I believe so. Look, I said, this is the first time I met him, and we are like on the same page here. I was like, wow, God. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's more things, and I believe this is not the last time, Diego, that we will interview you. And we're praying. I've never stopped praying for you since the last few months that I saw your name. And really, we really need someone that knows, first of all, the problema and the solutions. And of course, as you have touched every integral part of what's really the problem of California. And as we said, we go back to the fear of the Lord, the basic unit of the family, and everybody working, you know, and loving each other, whether you believe this or not, you know, the same way the freedom again. Yep. We're here in the United States of America, the beautiful country of USA. And would you mind if I say anything, closing remarks?
If you believe that we can make a difference in California, no matter your party line, invest in your future. Vote yes on the recall and check Diego Martinez for the next governor of California. You want more information? You want to follow me? DiegoMartinezforGovernor.com is my website. At the bottom, there's a donation button. If you find it in your heart and the ability to donate, please do. I've been self-funding this since March of 2020. Now it's to the point where I need help. And this is a small investment in your future and ours together. Social media, all social media roams. Diego Martinez for Governor 2020 on Facebook, unofficial. Diego Martinez for Governor on Instagram, Twitter, and every social media. Y para la gente ahí que habla español, Diego Martinez para Gobernador. Me pueden visitar todos los jueves cuando hacemos el programa para educarlos en lo que es la política de los Estados Unidos. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, and thank you for having me on your program.
Well, thank you. And thank God first, because He made this happen. Anyway, thank you, and we'll see you again. Everyone, thank you for being with us, and God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you again. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's amazing.
Oh, you did a great job.
Oh, my God.
You guys.
Oh, my